10 worst things you do for your dog, and you probably don't realize it. Number 10, probably the most obvious, feeding your dog human food. Now, it's not necessarily a problem for your dog to occasionally have the scraps left over off of your table. The problem is that they begin to whine, beg, and constantly associate X with Y the same way that babies do. Breaking this behavior can be extremely difficult, and it is not something you want to do. It's definitely not worth it. And you don't want to poison your dog on accident. Typically, dogs kept on an all dog food diet are a lot healthier and a lot less likely to have mobility, joint, bone issues, and overweight problems like dogs that constantly eat human food. And that's why I put feeding your dog human food at number 10. Number 9, pulling your dog's collar too hard. Most dogs are trained enough to not run towards every dog, human, kid, squirrel, cat that they see running down the street. But others, and sometimes you have to restrain them. But pulling too hard can cause serious injuries. You can break their neck, you can pull tendons, and dogs don't oftentimes realize the pain that they're feeling until their excitement cools down. You have to feel your dog's pain for them. This can also cause damage to the thyroid gland, which can cause weight gain, loss of fur, skin issues, and even organ failure. A lack of blood to your dog's head can cause their eyes and ears to shut down because there's not enough blood circulation due to the collar choking on them. It's not worth your dog's safety, so just get a harness or some other safe way to do it. And that's why I put pulling on your dog's collar too hard at number 9. Number 8, and that is not taking enough breaks during exercise. Think about if you haven't ran for a week and then you just tried to sprint one racing with a bunch of other people. That's how it is whenever you take your dog to the dog park after they've been playing around the house all week. You may exercise with your dog, but probably not as often as you think. The recommended amount of exercise for a dog under 5 years old is 1 hour per day with plenty of room to run around the entire hour. If you can't make that happen, it's okay, but take it into consideration whenever you do. It's also proper consideration for if it's hot outside to go to places with shade and water, or just take them in the morning or at night whenever it's cooling down. You should be doing regular checkups at the vet, so just make sure that you talk to them about how much exercise is appropriate for your dog's size, height, weight, age, etc. And that's why I put not taking enough breaks during exercise at number 8. Number 7, being a clean freak around your dog. When in history were animals ever meant to be as clean as we are today? Never, right? And evolution does not work as fast as we do. Aside from your dog being hypersensitive to things like bleach, ammonia, toilet bowl cleaners, oven cleaners, floor cleaners, the main reason you shouldn't be overly clean with them is they actually get a lot of nutrients from the dirt like sodium, calcium, iron. That's actually great for their digestive fur and their skin. Washing out all the natural oils is going to cause them to have mangy fur and dry skin. Also, their bodies will overcompensate for being clean and cause them to be greasy, which is not what you want. And the main one, definitely don't use human soaps on your dog. Hand soaps, antibacterial, Ajax, they say. Don't do that. Just go down to Petco. The same goes for dogs as for humans. That's a little dirt never hurt anybody. And that's why I put being overly clean with your dog at number 7. Number 6, isolating your dog or leaving them home alone while you have to go to work or hang out with your friends. While we're away, we might imagine our dogs comfortably napping away or keeping themselves busy, but a lot of times that's not the case. Dogs experience separation anxiety being away from their owner, and you gotta remember your dog doesn't know when or if you're ever gonna come back. Dogs that lack social interaction are just vegetating. They're not experiencing new things, they're not living life. Like whenever we go out, we experience 100 different things, and it's not fair for them to just be at home by themselves. And remember, bored dog is a bad dog. Remember, if you were stuck in the house by yourself all day with nothing to do, you'd probably chew up the couch and poop on the floor too. And last, life is simply too short. You don't want the end of your dog's life to come and be like, oh, I wish I could have took him to the park one more time. Enjoy the time with your dog and don't leave them there by themselves. That's why I put too much isolation for your dog at number 6. Number 5. Now this one should be known, but it's still done by a lot of people, so that's why I have it in the middle of the list. Spanking your dogs for using the bathroom inside. First off, it's just animal abuse because they have a nervous system and feel pain the exact same way that we do. Second is you can ruin your bond. You're the leader of their pack, you're their source of guidance and trust and that does not need to be broken. It can get so bad to the point actually that they'll stop listening to you just because they're so scared and they don't trust you anymore. Yelling at them obviously doesn't work because they're just scared of your tone. They don't actually know what you're talking about. It's almost impossible 90% of the time. If it's a continuous issue, just take them to a trainer and learn the proper ways to get them to not use the bathroom inside. Sometimes they might just miss you and want the attention. And that's why I put spanking your dog for using the bathroom inside at number 5. Number 4, not being consistent with your dog. Now this is the most useful for rescue dogs because they say a calm dog is a happy dog. But it's also great for training young pups because if you tell them sit every time you give them some food, then they'll begin to respond to the commands more and more as you tell them. Not only for training purposes, but feeding them at the same time every single day is actually going to help them maintain a steady weight and keep their metabolism in check. Also being consistent in your walks, every day doing the same thing and being consistent with the way in which you walk them, keeping them close or letting them roam, that's how they're going to learn. Being consistent with them is going to help them with their impulse control and also help them know your boundaries as much as their own. And that's why I put not being consistent with your dog at number 4 of the 10 worst things you can do for your dog. Number 3. Now this one's a little bit less talked about, but I think it's valid enough to be on the list, and that is watching scary movies with your dog. If it scares you, it probably scares them. Many dogs suffer from noise phobia as being scared of loud noises, flashes, bangs, a lot of different things, like that's why they bark at sirens, etc. If your dog is huddled up against you, shaking, or has plain left the room, then they're probably showing signs that they're a little bit scared. Also, your dog is your best friend, so if you're scared, they're probably scared too. They can feel you shaking, trembling. When you combine your dog's noise phobia and the fear that they're picking up from you, of course they're gonna have a tell me when it's over reaction. And that's why on the 10 worst things you can do with your dog, I have watching scary movies with them at number 3. Number 2. This one is a super important one, but I feel like it's one that 70% of dog owners do, and that is smoke around your dog. Dogs do not have as much free will to just get up and walk away from the smoke as we do. So whenever you smoke inside the house, they get that secondhand smoke whether or not you like it. They can experience the same secondhand smoke reactions as all of us humans do. You can give them eye infections, asthma, and other respiratory problems, even up to cancer. Just remember that dogs do not suffer from anxiety in the same ways that humans do, and they do not have the same resolutions to anxiety. So if you're smoking, have enough decency just to take it outside. And that's why I put smoking around your dog at number 2 of the 10 worst things that you can do for your dog. Number 1. Now I only put this at number 1 because it's one of the most common things to do for a dog, but is one of the most potentially dangerous things that we do for our dog. Giving your dog a bone. One thing you have to remember is the FDA does not approve dog bones the same way that they do food. Sometimes the ways that they process it and take care of the meat that's attached to the bones, such as the tendons, are not always good for your dog. Dogs eat them like humans eat candy. So you have to remember there are a lot of side effects that can come from that, such as gastrointestinal obstruction, choking, vomiting, bleeding from the butt, gashes in their intestinal tract, not safe. There are plenty of other treats that you can give them to make them happy that's not just a bone that's going to break off into super sharp pieces. Only about 20 dogs per year die from eating a bone, but it's still not a risk that I would want to take with my dog. That's why I put giving your dog a bone at number 1.